Saveara and Aldrich marched through the sands of Atlas Ire, their bodies covered in an illusory veil of an orc's visage. At their backs were many orcs, the products of illusions.
Are we ready for this?
Yes, we are. You know what to do, Aldrich.
They arrived at the Atlas Mountains. Saveara looked up at the colossal mountain range and the gatehouse at the end of the trail. At the peak of the gatehouse were two large turret towers with two orcs at the helm of the siege weapons.
Stop. You aren't to return until you complete your mission.
Last time we saw you through the telescope, you were squandering our new gifts.
Take another look at the telescope. That town has been reduced to ashes, and I am ever sharper as I sang their extinction.
The orcs looked through their scope to see Zepho on fire, covered in smoke that rose to the sky.
Well, I'll be damned. Welcome home, Captain Sorgan.
Saveara and Aldrich walked by the guards. Their illusory army came through the large tunnel. Saveara slightly flinched at the smell of musk and manure used in the farms, but it added validity to her plot as well as the veins of ore and gemstone. Iron, tungsten, diamonds, rubies, they glittered in the mountain. Saveara looked down and saw a small mouse and recognized it as Galliarin in disguise. Galliarin was unable to speak in her rodent form and nodded to the storeroom. Saveara raised an eyebrow, but went to the storeroom, and Aldrich went to the training pits to continue his part of the plot. The necromancer leaned on a stone shelf holding numerous gems and rocks as Galliarin reverted to her original form.
Did you want to talk about something? We have literally 20 minutes before we start the massacre.
I know that's why I have to do this now. I know we have to destroy this clan. I've made peace with that, but there are 320,000 orc children who are completely innocent in all this. They've never wielded a blade, and from what I saw, they are scared to death about becoming what their elders have become. Dyler, Juries, and I aren't comfortable with murdering children.
Where will they go then? Will they be accepted in other tourist settlements?
I know there will be issues with resources, space, and acceptance, but I'm sure we can figure it out. Perhaps Gardenia can take some of them.
Galliarin begged as she held her hands together in her face. Saveara sighed and rolled her eyes.
Let me send a message to Neil. Neil, how are you, my sweetheart?
Oh, hey, Saveara. What's up?
We're about to do our masterstroke on the orcs, but how many orc children can the orphanage take?
As many as you need. We can figure it out.
Thanks, sweetheart. Saveara hung up the call. You're really asking a lot here, Galliarin, but Gardenia will take as many children as they can. Hopefully, they'll have a better time there than I did.
Thank you so much, Saveara. The back tunnel that leads to the coast will begin taking them once the fight starts.
All right. The front and back tunnels can be excellent choke points anyway. Now, let's go before your boyfriend thinks we're doing something in here.
Galliarin rolled her eyes and shifted back into a mouse that scurried under the stone door. As Saveara left the storeroom, she had only 5 minutes left to begin the starting tactic and walked to the farming chamber. She gazed down at the large chamber and the numerous unique crops being tended to by the children, being watched by large guards holding axes and whips. She slid down the cavern, and everyone stood still in respect and fear towards the orc captain Illusion.
Everyone, by order from Chieftain Sverek, you are to make way to the coastal tunnel.
Why?
Saveara turned and glared at the orc, whose back pressed against the wall as he stared at her.
Are you questioning your chieftain?
He shook his head quickly and said,
No, sir.
The children dropped their stone sickles and ran through the tunnel with the adults. Saveara took a deep breath as she was finally alone. Her illusion vanished in a cloud of black mist. Soon all her illusions would follow suit. She pulled out a vial of blackish-purple miasma and smashed it in the crop field. The small puff of miasma grew in size and hunger as the crops wilted and desiccated. In a minute, the entire farm chamber was subsumed, and the effluvium went out to gain more victims. As alarms echoed through the tunnels, the end of the orc raiders was near. Saveara ran through the tunnels, and the effluvium dared not to harm the one that made them. As she made her way to a large chamber, she made her subspace portals, and her thralls poured from the subspace, hungry and ready to feast. Saveara pointed in all directions.
It's time to go feast my effluvium. The harvest shall commence. Go forth, my thralls, and consume all you find. The short ones are off limits.
Her 1,000 thralls groaned and nodded as they went into separate tunnels.
Time to find the ringleader.
Saveara opened the chitinous plates around her tail and felt for the largest vibrations she could find and could detect some through the northern tunnel. She ran through the tunnel and prepared her blades. In a long tunnel, orc thralls shambled through the darkness. Any orcs in their way were eaten and engulfed by the effluvium lurking for more food. Saveara ran through the tunnels, leaping off her tall thralls to hear a loud burst through the tunnels that made the mountain shake. Saveara stopped and struggled to keep her balance as the stone shook. A bat flew past her and shifted into Gallirin.
Saveara. To the north is Svarric. If he isn't dealt with, he'll kill us all.
Okay, Gallirin, thank you. Status on the children.
Save that for later. Kill the mountain shaker now.
Gallirin returned to her bat form and flew off. Saveara threw up and shook her hands.
Fine if it'll put you at ease.
She ran through the bloodied tunnels until she found the gates to the chief's chambers open. Zombies lay dead, bludgeoned and battered. Their thick black blood poured on the ground. A zombie flew past the necromancer and landed on the wall. She looked forward to seeing a large orc that she could only surmise as Svarric. She counted 50 zombies and even other orcs dead at his feet. A green pulse enveloped his body with each kill. His body covered in crimson and black blood, a menacing laugh echoed from his throat. He noticed Saveara and kept laughing while waving his maul in her direction.
So you are the woman that brought me so many whetstones. I was going to kill you, but you might be more useful as a concubine.
You, assuming you beat me, kill me. I work with rot and decay, and I bet whatever is in your pants will make even me vomit.
Saveara didn't respond. She merely formed her scythe and imbued it with baleful purple energy, radiating like a sun. Svarric imbued his maul with a terrible dark green virulence and grinned at the necromancer. The two darted at each other. Svarric swung at Saveara, but she leaped over the head of the hammer and slashed Svarric in the chest. She expected crimson mixed with green to pour from the wound, but nothing came out to her shock. He swung his maul at her head, but she barely avoided it. As the hammer grazed her hair, it sizzled in dark green flames and vanished. She avoided numerous swings, but took a heavy punch that sent force through her chest and launched her to the wall. As she collided with it, her scythe lost its death energy enhancement and returned to a shiny, curved blade.
Oh, don't worry, dear. The others got used to it, so will you. How'd you like that? Your master really knows how to uplift his partners.
She got up and felt numerous breaks in her ribs and soreness in her chest. Both began to slowly mend.
I don't have a master.
Oh right, you threw away your partnership to what be weak with your little defective prince.
Saveara darted at him and landed a heavy punch to his face that sent small waves through the air that kicked up rubble.
Keep Neelio Algrim and any remnant of his meaning out of your fucking mouth.
Svarric grinned, and Saveara went for another punch, but he caught her arm and snapped it with a mere jerk of his hand. She was then tossed in the air, and as she fell, her chest was met with a vicious blow from Svarric's hammer that sent her flying back into the wall that cracked as she impacted. She got up and just barely avoided a punch from the orc chief that further cracked the wall. She leaped from his arm and tossed a shuriken coated in flame ether at his nape. It connected, bounced off his skin, and erupted in a burst of orange flames. Svarric lunged from the smoke unharmed and grabbed Saveara by the neck.
Did you really think that would hurt me?
He grabbed her by her face and descended to the ground. The back of her skull formed a crater in the ground. The orc held his maul above the injured necromancer. Saveara was dazed, her arm in searing pain, her skull cracked, and her vision blurry. Despite that, she glared at the towering orc and said,
Go to hell.
He shook his head and slammed his maul in her chest. A shockwave surged through the stone and made the crater collapse. Immense agony surged through Saveara's body as her blood spilled from her wounds. Her battered vessel fell with the rubble. Saveara fell through the chasm and landed in a pile of rocks. She felt immense pain in her back as a large rock fell on her, entombing her in rocks. She barely clung to life, her breathing slow and haggard, but her body slowly healed itself. After a minute, the rubble shook as Saveara rose from the pile. Her bloodied and bruised body continued to, and she stepped down the pile, her muscles very sore.
Goddamn. We may have to jump that fucker. I'm not gonna lie.
She looked around and found numerous brittle and rusted iron bars. Inside them are numerous corpses of human women, their skin gray and desiccated.
Oh, damn. He wasn't joking about human concubines. Absolutely disgusting.
She hopped off the pile and snapped the iron bars in pieces. Saveara took the 10 bodies and organized them in rows. She placed their arms in a crossed position with a shard of kyanite clutched in their hands. Time to wake up, ladies. You have justice to enact. She pulled out her animite crystal and began drawing energy from the souls trapped inside. Her body mended quickly with the life force of the slain. Shortly she felt no pain and could move her body with no soreness or stress. She performed, got on her knees, and clasped her hands together. She was still in pain, but time was of the essence. Purple glyphs appeared below them as she spoke the incantations.
Dark forces of the great beyond, I beseech thee, not because you are a malevolent void, but because you are a source of boundless secrets. Please grant these mortals a new chance of existence in the Crimson River. While the souls are laid to rest, a new identity shall rise or drown.
Purplish-black mist erupted from the glyphs and engulfed the corpses. The bodies twisted and writhed with the new animation worming into the vessel. Once the mist vanished, the kyanite was gone, and the new risen began to rise. They stood up. Their tattered clothing barely covered the new gray and deathly white skin. One woman rubbed her sunken eyes and scratched her new flaky white hair.
What's going on?
The sound barely escaped her mouth as her body was new. Saveara crossed her arms and said,
Hello, ladies. How do you feel? What do you remember?
One woman who had a scar on her shoulder looked around dazed.
I don't remember a lot.
She focused hard to remember what fragments remained.
I remember being dragged somewhere in chains, hunger, my back bleeding from whips, the smell of farming, and...
Despite not needing air, she began to hyperventilate at her last memory. Saveara surmised that it must have been the abuse Svarog has done personally.
That's all you need to say. Don't think about the past anymore.
She placed her hand on the risen's shoulder.
Who are you?
I am Saveara Cromwell. I am the necromancer that brought you to life as risen. You are as sapient as any mortal, granted your memories are fragmented as the spell demands you are new people in the bodies of the dead.
Who were we before? Do you know?
Come on, look at your clothes. Look around. You can figure out what you were. By how emaciated you look, the cause of death was malnourishment.
The risen went silent. Rage grew in their blighted hearts as blackish-purple plasma arced from their bodies, but stopped quickly.
I want payback. I want that piece of shit's head on a pike.
Well, we can get our revenge. All of us.
How do we have supreme magic power?
Saveara pulled out her animite crystal and explained.
As risen, you have the power to absorb life force, and your power grows as you do it.
She held the shard up and said,
Absorb the energy in this stone. It holds the souls of your perpetrators. We will go back up there and waste his smug ass.
The risen looked at each other and nodded as they held out their hands. White energy leaked from the stone and soaked into their bodies. Their emaciated bodies became fuller, their power grew, and their once dim eyes began to glow brighter. 100 souls withered to nothing as dust burst from the gem.
How do you feel, ladies?
I feel invigorated.
Crimson began to leak from her hands. Another began to protrude sharp bone blades from her hands.
I'm going to cut that fucker's nuts off.
Okay, ladies, let's go.
Saveara leaped high, and the others followed suit with enhanced physicality and powerful streams of blood. Loud bangs and bursts could be heard as they got closer, and as she and her new risen erupted from the crater, she saw Aldrich slumped on the ground.
Did you miss me?
You're not dead?
What your eyes don't work, bitch.
She landed on his iron throne. The others erupted from the hole, and as they saw Svarog, a whip made of blood struck him in the arm, but he barely felt anything from it. Svarog began to laugh as he realized what she did.
So you raised up these useless bitches as sapient undead. A waste of magical energy if you ask me.
Svarog laughed his ass off, but was abruptly stopped by a large bone spear through his shoulder. He shouted as he turned away and grabbed the spear. But Saveara leaped with tremendous force and gave Svarog a devastating punch to the face that knocked him to the ground and sent his teeth flying to the stone.
Pride cometh before the fall.
Saveara mocked him as she kicked him far through the stone. She walked up to him. Her commas entered the scythe form. Crimson tendrils entrapped Svarog, and his life force began to leave through it. As Saveara got up to the orc, she swung her leg hard and struck the orc in the face. A large spurt of blood left his mouth and splattered on the stone.
You bitch.
His words sounded muffled as his jaw was dislocated.
That's right, talk your shit. That's all you can do.
Svarog tried to break free, but had no luck as Saveara grabbed him by his jawline.
Like I said, talking shit is all you can do.
His head swung in an attempt to strike Saveara, but she weaved it and delivered a blow that shattered his nose. Saveara shoved her stinger in his abdomen and injected her venom through his body. One of the Risen walked up holding another spear made of bone and said,
Let me enact justice before you kill him.
She pressed her spear below his belt.
Alice. You said you loved it.
Risen Alice glared at her perpetrator and plunged her spear in his groin. His screams echoed throughout the chasm as she twisted the bone blades. As she yanked out the blade, his pants were covered in blood, and 2 large balls fell to the ground. Svarog fell to his knees. Purplish-black veins grew from the neck of his shirt. His muscles grew weak from the siphoning blood tendrils. Saveara swung her scythe and placed the blade on Svarog's neck, ready to end the tyrant. Saveara turned to the blood-wielding Risen and said,
Amazing application of your siphoning. If you don't remember your original name, how does Viscera sound?
It's fine, ma'am. Just kill him, please.
Ladies, are you satisfied with his death? No more agony can be inflicted on the dead.
She looked at her newly born, Risen, and all nodded their heads. With one press of the trigger and the jerk of her muscles, the burial blades swiftly severed the chieftain's head with a mechanical screech. His head flew off his shoulders, and blood shot from his neck like a geyser that covered the necromancer's face. Once his head fell and bounced off the stone and rested at his victim's feet, his body fell to the ground, and his green flicker of a soul went into her anemite crystal. Saveara wiped the blood from her face and ran to Aldrich, his body slowly mending. He got up and looked around at the shattered stone, the crimson lining the chamber, and the necromancer at his side.
Saveara.
Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. You look like shit, though.
She held out the crystal to give him some energy, and as it glowed, he pushed it away. He slowly got himself up on his feet. Saveara laughed and said,
He does pack a punch in your chest.
Aldrich looked at the 10 new Risen hovering over Svarog.
Who were they?
Concubines, taken from their homes and subjected to heinous treatment. I think they died of malnutrition.
You gave them justice.
I don't know about that. Risen have fragments of the former's memories, but they are a new person. You aren't the same as the last guy I raised.
Not sure they see it that way.
Pale blue and white mist swirled from the middle of the chamber and formed into an illusory visage of Fornius. He gazed down at his former apprentice and the dead orc on the floor.
So you ruined another thing for me, his voice echoed through the chamber.
His voice echoed through the chamber.
Ah, Fornius, what's good with you? You attached your head back that quickly?
You can't halt what's coming. Even killing my pawn doesn't matter in the long term.
We'll see. However, thwarting every plot I can makes you boil with rage. I know that. I know you. Let me guess. You beguile more pawns that grow in power from these towns. Once they are done, they become auxiliary forces to attack Gardenia.
Fornius went silent, indicating the truth in his former apprentice's claim.
Oh, you think you're so clever, don't you?
I'd have to be a wizard, wouldn't I? She mocked back.
Well, I know what you came here for as well. That defect you choose over the boundless power I provide won't succeed in his futile attempt for change. Let's see if the monster I made can handle this.
Fornius snapped his fingers, and the illusion vanished.
Handle what? Aldrich.
Aldrich asked as a large tremor shook the mountain so hard everyone stumbled for a bit.
Fornius, you petty bitch.